If you're wondering why does she want to divorce her husband, well, it's because she's pregnant. It's all going to make sense here in a little bit. No more wasting time. Let's check it out.
Everyone seems to be interested in why I'm getting divorced, so for pickup line tea time today, that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, clearly there is a lot of backstory, and this is just going to be like the very long story short, like the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak.
Let's hear it.
So Aaron and I have always kind of struggled financially.
Okay.
And we have always barely made it. Let's just put it at that. We've always got it done, but barely. And so then we moved into our most recent house, and he had left a job to try to do a different job. That job wasn't paying him well.
Hold on. We've got a caption here on the screen that we have to read. It says, I've been a stay-at-home mom for years. He was the sole provider. Okay, so she's been a stay-at-home mom. He was the sole provider. Let's keep listening.
And so he ended up falling behind, and we were behind, and he went back to his old job and couldn't catch up. And the mortgage company only wanted the payment in full, and they were not working with him. They were not letting him do a payment plan, so on and so forth. So we eventually foreclosed on the house.
Okay.
And so the weekend that we were moving out of the house that we foreclosed on, he was telling me that he wants to get me pregnant, and I said, absolutely not. This is not the time. We're about to move into my parents' house, and I do not want to be pregnant right now. I don't want to have a baby. Well, lo and behold, that weekend, he got me pregnant. And I just will never believe that it was an accident. He said it was an accident, but I was like, I specifically said, no, I do not want to be pregnant. So don't you think you would be more careful or whatever? He knew I was not on birth control. We were both aware of what we were doing, clearly. But I just think that we've never had an accident aside from Ella, which
Okay, we've got one more here. It says, we were both in college. No, we don't still think she's an accident. She is very loved. Okay. So they're trying to say they didn't plan her. You know, they have to give that disclaimer because people get emotional and be like, oh, you're going to hurt her feelings. Sometimes people don't plan kids. It just happens. It happens sometimes. Maybe sometimes it's sooner than later, so on and so forth. Just keep listening.
Again, we knew what we were doing, but didn't really want to be pregnant at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But in the past 7 years since that happened, we have never gotten pregnant unintentionally. And so I just think it's a weird coincidence that it happened right when we were foreclosing on our house, which makes me feel like it was not an accident and he wanted a reason for me to stick around. Well, joke's on him. I did not stick around because it made me very upset and no longer able to trust him, because I think he did it on purpose. So that's the very long story short. I'm going to get hate for that in the comments because people are like, it takes two to tango. I'm aware. I'm very aware. I have 4 kids. So I know what goes down. However, I think that I just will never believe that it was an accident. So I cannot trust him. And that's why I'm getting divorced. But that's the very long story short. If you want to hear more of the lore, just follow me because I'm sure I'm going to talk about it at some point. But everyone was curious. So there's the tea.
So your solution to what it obviously sounds like going through financial hardship, and what it sounds like to me, you're saying, oh, my husband was doing well financially, and then I saw that he wasn't doing so well. And so to keep me, you think that he got you pregnant on purpose. You already have 3 kids. You think that he got you pregnant on purpose to convince you to stay. Tells me one thing for sure. You are already going to leave. The Coffee Pot is backed by FathersHaveRights.com, the ultimate prenup prep guide for men who value marriage in our modern day. Future husbands, the divorce industry makes billions when men walk into a lawyer's office unprepared. Don't let the system profit from your ignorance. My step-by-step guide at FathersHaveRights.com, created with expert attorneys James Sexton and the lead attorney, hands you the questions, checklists, and strategy to walk in 10 steps ahead, and it costs only a couple of dinner dates. Click the link pinned to the top of the comment section, secure your future, and join the hundreds of men preparing their marriages the right way. Guys, am I the only one who caught that? If you're saying, oh, he thought he was somehow going to convince me to stay and he's using the kids to keep me in the marriage, and you're saying that didn't work, you're pretty much discrediting this whole reason for you wanting this divorce if he was using it as an attempt. hypothetically, let's say you're right. You were already planning to leave anyways, which also tells me that the real reason you're leaving is because you think you can find a man who makes more money than your husband, who's going to marry you with 4 kids. I'm telling you, this is probably the expectation after she leaves this financially difficult marriage. And you're going to struggle more. I don't think people realize how they set themselves for extreme poverty, especially single moms. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. The vast majority of them are struggling incredible. I get this is tough to hear.
I would not drink bean juice.
You don't drink bean juice. You don't want to hear the truth. I get it. This is tough to hear. But we're seeing the making of a very sad and unfortunate story here. And a man who was lied to when she said, through sickness and health and through anything else that we go through. Check out a few of these comments. Top commenter says, are you listening to yourself? Oh my goodness. We have Rose. Here we have a woman who's chiming in, and I'm actually surprised. She is saying, are you listening to yourself? Why is it surprising, Shisha? Because many, many times we see that this is the opportunity a lot of chicks get to be fed more tea and delusion. Somebody else here added, goes both ways. Another person who says, so now what? 5 kids, broke ex-husband, bad credit. I mean, yeah. She responded back, says, my credit is actually fine at the moment. I wasn't on the mortgage. And so she's like, he took the hit, not me. So he's taking the hit for credit. He's providing for a family of 4, which is very financially taxing. And sure, I will say this. If you're somebody who's struggling to provide for 4 kids, you probably shouldn't have 5 in that moment. Maybe later on. But yeah, like to her point in that situation, sure. But she said for a while, for a long time, she was a stay-at-home mom. And in the end, she's leaving him. Let's not get it twisted, because he fell on hard times and it lasted longer than she was able to bear it. Her vows meant nothing. Somebody else who says, and now her 4 kids gets to live in a broken home. Right. Here's somebody else who says, you're also responsible for making sure you do not get pregnant. Why is he getting all the blame? Guys, I'm legitimately proud of the chicks here in the comment section. Somebody else who says, this is a woman, girl, you're going to struggle even more. These are probably other women who are single mothers who are listening to this like, hey, this dude doesn't sound like he's really done anything worthy of breaking up the household and devastating him and everyone that's involved. She responds back and says, I'd rather struggle alone than with the man who doesn't respect my boundaries. So we have a woman here who has TikTok brain, been influenced by social media, yet again, another chick, and is breaking up her family. Here's somebody else who says, I just don't think you like him, hun. Another person who says, it's not a coincidence. It's the result of lack of family planning. Somebody else who says, you can't be serious, or this can't be real. Another person who says, I'm looking at the problem. They're like, yo, I'm looking at you. You're the problem. Here's somebody else who says, are we dead at? Whoa. Some abusers get their partners pregnant so they don't want to lose them. Oh, yes. Yes. And she responded back and says, people in these comments are choosing not to believe this. Shut up. Here's somebody else that says, speak louder so the back can hear that. This is a complete violation of her. Unbelievable, bro.
One of the things my husband was admittedly the worst at was getting gifts. And one year for Mother's Day, I was interested in Jawlex nail content on TikTok. So he got me this UV light. However, he did not give me anything else to go along with the UV light. So I finally bought myself all of the other things that I need to do my nails. I'm going to try to do them today. I'm going to do them right now. I might go live while I do it if it's not too hard. But if I'm getting frustrated, I'm not going to go live because that would not be good for me. But when I do my nails, I'll make a little transition video, but I've been growing out my nails and I'm not going to cut them. So that might be bad in the first place, but I've been growing them out and hopefully I can just soak off the gel and not ruin my nails because I've been working really hard to grow my nails out. I'm a nail biter through and through, so this is insane. If you know me, you know I have bit into the stub nails and this is crazy for me. So I'm not going to cut them, but I'm going to try my best. So stay tuned for a little nail transition video. I was a solo mom and now I am a single mom. Get ready for bed with me while I talk about becoming a single mom. I'm going to start out by saying I am not yet divorced. I am separated. I will be filing for divorce. I just don't know if I can yet because I'm currently pregnant with his baby. And the lawyer I talked to doesn't seem sure that I can do that in Missouri. Overall, though, nothing has really changed as of yet. Like, we still communicate fairly often, definitely much less often than we were before. But my life with the kids has not really changed at all because he has been an over the road trucker for the past 3 or 4 years, I believe. And so he has not been home for any of that period of time. So he would be gone for 8 weeks and then home for 10 days. So 95% of the time I was by myself anyway. So basically,
Because he was working to try and provide for 4 kids, maybe? What's going on here?
I was a solo mom and now I am a single mom. And let me tell you, there is not much of a difference. If you feel like you are already doing everything alone, like, leave. It's not going to change much at all. One of the biggest problems we had is that he was not emotionally available at all if I was struggling. And I feel like now that I consider myself a single mom, I just know that I have to deal with it within myself, and I am not trying to reach out to help from someone who is not going to help me anyway. The girls also have not had anything change really for them because their life is so far the same, if not better, because now we live at grandma's house. And so they've been really enjoying the time at grandma's house. And their dad typically would not be home right now anyway, so they haven't really noticed a difference. I think we are still getting through the rough patches of learning to navigate not being together, not talking to each other all the time. And I think that there are still a lot of big feelings going on. First of all, I don't think he really realized what I meant by I want to separate, because I told him this 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I had to tell him again 2 or 3 days ago what I meant by I want to be separated. I want to be not together anymore. And he said, so you want to break up? And I was like, we've been married for 5 years. I want to get divorced. It's not a breakup anymore. This is.
This woman is slow, bro. Gentlemen, be careful marrying a slow woman. She can't put together the fact that her content career is not going to provide for her 5 kids. We're dealing with a slow individual. Not if I'd have known she was slow, I don't know if I'd have gone this hard on her. This woman needs help. This woman needs help.
It's too real to be called a breakup. So I don't think he really got the hint until about 3 days ago, which I think is why he was contacting me so often, and why when I left and he watched the kids, he texted me 3 times to see when I was going to be back. And I said, when I leave, you cannot control what I do. I can be gone and I don't have to respond to you.
Wow.
He said, yes, I do. And I said, that's not how this works. So basically, moral of the story is that I was a solo mom doing everything by myself. And the only thing that was really happening with him was that he was further upsetting me when I was already emotional. And so now nothing has really changed except for the fact that I know that I have to deal with my own emotions and not rely on somebody else. But it has been easy. It has been easy because I realized that my kids are not really the problem. Yeah, they're crazy and feral, but my reaction and my leaning on somebody who was not there for me was more of the problem than their behavior. And so things have actually been really good. Really good. I'm not feeling as angry. I'm not yelling and screaming. It's been good. And basically, nothing has changed.
Nothing may have changed for now and maybe for you, but I assure you, everything has changed for your husband and for your children every time they sit down and wonder why they do not have a father. Let's check out a few of these comments. Top commenter says, you cannot divorce when pregnant in Missouri. Somebody else who says, Bailey, you're glowing. You got this, girl. Somebody else who says, you do what makes it good for you. Take care of you. You. Me. Listen. Gentlemen, number one, protect yourself. Protect yourself before marriage. Get yourself a prenup if you're someone who values marriage in our modern day. Secondly, be very careful about the dynamic of a stay-at-home mom, because like I've said many times, that person at home can convince themselves that that job is more difficult than providing for that much of a family. And now, as somebody who has a child who does spend time alone, babysitting, doing the diaper changing, cooking, cleaning, all that, yes, she said, I don't mind helping out with that. I've told you guys plenty of times. I've taken complete charge in that department because I'm able to work from home sometimes because, content thing. There's been times I've taken charge of that for months on end. And good thing I have an incredible wife who takes charge the majority of the time and also wants to work and doesn't mind working. Taking care of babies and children is not that hard. Yeah, I said it. It's not that hard. Hey guys, as always, I appreciate you checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. To my currently engaged or soon to be married men, if you need a prenup and would like a guide that shows you how to get a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement, hit the link into the top of the comment section and access your guide at fathershaverights.com today.